5 plus 1 is 6, and 7 plus 1 is 8. So it looks like we can add numbers together, which is pretty cool. Of course, with just 4 bits, if we try to 15 plus 1...
So to do this with the neural network, you start by taking all of your inputs, in this case our 4 pixels, and you break them out into input neurons. And you assign a number to each of these.
Accelerates, and it pays for that acceleration by losing velocity, decelerating in the time direction. There's a certain way of interpreting the math of relativity that says that everything travels at the speed of light.
So, all you need to know is that a logic gate is how multiple inputs interact with each other. They make up everything about computers, and that they absolutely start to build with only
traditional short-term objectives to longer-term objectives. And we have to bear in mind that in problems like this, the initial stages of global temperature increase, one region of...
It's a famous problem in computer science called the graph isomorphism problem. Given 2 graphs, decide whether one can be transformed into the other. For example, these 2 here might look different on first glance, but watch how they are just reshaped.
Let's understand this with a simple example. So imagine I give you a trained network now. Here I'm giving you the weights, and the weights W are on the top right. So W0 is going to be set to 1.
Isaac Newton. With his 3 laws published in 1687 in his book Principia, Newton outlined his understanding of motion, and a lot of his ideas were totally new. Today, more than
3 physicists held opposing views, and to resolve the differences in their philosophies, they invoked a simple thought experiment that involved,
since well before the first Wright brothers' flight in 1903, and all the way to the present day, mankind has been fascinated by taking to the skies. Once thought to be impossible, heavier than air.
1. But because anything multiplied by 0 is still 0, such a number is impossible. So 0 has no multiplicative inverse. Does that really...
This is Gorgona Island. Like other islands in the region, it has been isolated from the mainland for thousands of years, facilitating the development of unique species. One of these is the blue anole.
You show to a non-mathematician in an intuitive way why there are exactly 5 platonic solids, not more and not less. Well, one way to do it is to look at the surface of these objects. So this dodeca...
Honey is more viscous than oil, and oil is more viscous than water. Viscous fluids feel thicker and don't flow as easily. But since it's such a fundamental parameter that
Oh, man!
The fungus was controlling the ant's behavior back then. It might have just infected and killed the ant without manipulating its behavior, like many species do today. But we can use DNA, again, to give us insights into the history of ant zombification.
How can we get a deeper intuition about this abstract idea? Well, let's start by taking an approach through cartography. This is a military-grade
Earth. It's very likely nothing could move. Cells existed where they were, they got sloshed around through physical processes, and survived when they ended up.
Think about this. The visible universe consists mostly of less than 100 naturally occurring elements. Yet there's an immense diversity and complexity reflected in not only the myriad of substances that can be found in the universe.
So that there is no fear that wheel and axle will ever part company.
Inside the honey factory, they put the honeycomb frames on what's called an